how much do you really know about the world's most well-known space agencies? Um, Today, we're diving into the fascinating history of NASA, highlight some of its most notable achievements, and show you its grand journey to the stars. Before we blast off, remember to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content. Founded in 1958, NASA, or the uh, National Aeronautics and Space Administration, emerged as a comprehensive space program after the Soviet Union launched the first artificial Earth satellite, Sputnik. Its primary goal was to create a robust space agency to compete with the Soviets and find innovative ways to explore space. The construction of the first American satellite, Explorer 1, began on July 1958. And about 6 weeks later, it measured over 800 kilograms and a central utilitarian arm missiles. Body later boosted guidance shroud to an altitude of about 378 miles above the Earth. Explorer 1 paved the way for numerous other satellite launches and unfurled the dawn of the American space age. Some of NASA's most notable achievements include forming the Viking missions in the 1970s that studied life in the Valles Marineris region of Mars. When the Mars landing brought astronomers the necessary depiction of Martian dust shortly after the lander separated from the orbiter, nailing significant engineering milestones like the space shuttle program and, of course, landing on Mars, accomplished through the mechanical ballet stage by the Curiosity rover in 2012. Not to mention to executing 8-man missions to the moon as part of the Apollo program during the 1960s. By the end of the century, Hubble astronomer R1ing space tether and division occurrences LEGO, totally chuckling. Once you landed on the moon, you have two choices. Look back at what you had or look forward to where you're going. And the later, particularly true for the #1 space, LEGO fingers to civilian replacements. Weir lists the 7 ventures titled Europa, Cliff-Looking, Discovery, Encapsulated Jag-Red Holes, Utilus 3341, OSAB Missing, Movers, Clay Segregated, Summer, Masters Coat, Signal Seg Pad Mixers, Crowded Leo Microbes, Up How Newer Ends, Chairdster Tag Sets, Anticipate, Surname Train, Zen Effective AF, Thereby Policy, Romania Identity, Violin, Clock Fraction Class. However, one particular standout is the Curiosity rover, which has been roving the Martian terrain since its landing in 2012. With that said, thanks for reading and following along. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel for more space-castic content. It appears you provided a significant portion of HTML code for a website, but not do a specific article or content to be converted into a prompter-friendly format. However, I can assist you in creating a clean and clear article from the given metadata and adjust the text so it is easy to read from the prompter. However, based on the title and metadata, I'll create a piece of content related to the movie RoboCop, which features several notable actors, including Michael Keaton, Samuel L. Jackson, and Gary Oldman. If you'd like to provide the specific content, I'd be happy to assist with revising it to make it ideal for being read from a prompter. A lost opportunity remembering the star power of 2014's RoboCop. Jeffrey Tuck's case's Officer Alex Murphy, a man whose life and skin are intertwined. Somewhat in 1987, there was a true classic, Paul Verhoeven's RoboCop, starring RoboCop Peter Weller in a crime-ridden Detroit. Um, skip forward almost 3 decades to 2014's reboot film directed by Jose Padilla, with Michael K. Colbert portraying the titular character. The movie boasts an impressive cast, including Samuel L. Jackson as Dick Jones, a businessman and foe to Murphy RoboCop, and Gary Oldman as Dr. Dennett Norton, who gave life to RoboCop through a bit of alchemy. Speaking of impressive, adding Michael Keaton throws even more A-list excitement into the mix. The 2014 RoboCop reboot, a disappointing attempt. I've seen my fair share of movies, and as a lifelong fan of the original RoboCop, I was eagerly anticipating the 2014 reboot. The star-studded cast alone had me hooked. Michael Keaton, Gary Oldman, Samuel L. Jackson, and even Joel Kinnaman stepping into Peter Weller's iconic boots. It seemed like a recipe for success. But alas, it wasn't meant to be a bent. Despite the impressive lineup, the movie failed to impress at the box office. But what went wrong? What could have been done differently to save this sci-fi action film from disappointment? Let's take a closer look to do. I would be not for all the fighting, and then being meeting. What to sense the new level of above that present. The 2014 RoboCop reboot was heavily influenced by the original 1987 film, incorporating similar themes and elements. However, it ended up feeling like a tired rehashing of old ideas rather than a fresh take on the classic characters. The plot followed Alex Murphy, a Detroit police officer critically injured in a car bombing, who is brought back to life as a cyborg law enforcement officer. And then it was probably in this demand before they did not see what is doing. Not to do it, but to do the internal code that they might. Gary Oldman, Michael Keaton, and Samuel L. Jackson are all highly talented actors, but they were underutilized in the 2014 RoboCop reboot. The story didn't give them enough room to shine, leaving their characters feeling one-dimensional. Even Joel Kinnaman, who played the lead role of Alex Murphy RoboCop, struggled to make a lasting impression. Heavy focus on action. And of course, a RoboCop movie needs action, but the 2014 reboot prioritized it over character development and storytelling. This led to a rough, over-the-top action movie experience that lacked emotional resonance. The abundance of CGI heavy set pieces became overwhelming and detracted from the overall narrative. To say why the 2014 RoboCop reboot unfortunately failed to live up to expectations, primarily due to an outdated plotline, underutilized cast, and an overemphasis on action. Despite the talented actors involved, the film fell flat at the box office. The 2014 RoboCop remake, directed by Jose Padilla, had a talented ensemble cast, including Joel Kinnaman as Alex Murphy slash RoboCop. Abby Cornish as Clara Murphy, Alex's wife. Michael Keaton as Raymond Sellers, the CEO of Omnicorp. Gary Oldman as Dr. Dennett Norton, the lead scientist behind the RoboCop project. Samuel L. Jackson as Rick Maddox, the engineer who helps bring RoboCop online. Jay Baruchel as Jack Lewis, a hacker who helps the Murphys. Jackie Earle Haley as Gip Jones, a nightclub owner and a corrupt Omnicorp executive. It seems like the article is about the 2014 remake of the classic film RoboCop, and star lineup couldn't save this movie. The 2014 remake of RoboCop boasts an impressive ensemble of A-list actors. Michael Keaton portrays the ruthless CEO of Omnicorp. Gary Oldman takes on the role of the sinister Dr. Dennett Norton. And Samuel L. Jackson is Patrick Novak, a media mogul with a stake in the company who is Stake, the product of miking the transport time, taking the back micros, and the company's. Despite the star-studded cast, the film received mixed reviews from critics and failed to recapture the magic of the original. Directed by Jose Padilla, the remake tries to bring the classic story to the big screen with a modern twist, but it falls flat in many areas. The film's attempts to update the classic story come across as forced and try too hard to appeal to a new audience, losing the essence of the original. The movie follows Alex Murphy, a Detroit police officer who is killed in the line of duty and brought back to life as a cyborg law enforcement officer. Joel Kinnaman plays the titular character, but despite his best efforts, he can't elevate the subpar material. The movie's overemphasis on CGI and its heavy-handed handling of the themes detract from the viewing experience. And the film struggles to balance action, drama, and social commentary, resulting in a messy and disjointed narrative. Perhaps the most disappointing aspect of the film is the waste of its talented cast. And I just see the very little of Michael Keaton in particular is underutilized as the ruthless CEO, and his character feels more like a caricature than a fully fleshed out villain. Gary Oldman shines as the sinister Dr. Dennett Norton, but even his exceptional acting talents can't salvage the film's shortcomings. Overall, the 2014 remake of RoboCop is a disappointing effort that fails to live up to its full potential. Despite its talented cast and impressive visuals, the film falls flat in its execution, making it a skippable watch for fans of the original. It seems like you're discussing the 2014 film adaptation of RoboCop. You mentioned that despite a star-studded cast, the film failed to excel at the box office. You also touch on aspects of the film that differentiated it from the original, such as a lesser emphasis on satire and violence. Here's a more detailed analysis of your points. The 2014 version of RoboCop, starring Joel Kinnaman, Michael Keaton, and Abby Cornish, received mixed reviews from critics and audiences alike. However, it did not perform well at the box office despite its promising premise. And you allude to the original RoboCop film's satirical tone, which was a key aspect of its appeal of the 1987 classic, directed by Paul Verhoeven, was a commentary on consumerism, militarism, and the role of media in society. The new film, however, seems to have toned down these elements, focusing more on action and drama. The 2014 remake was an attempt to reboot the franchise and attract a new audience. However, it didn't quite capture the same magic as the original, and its box office performance reflects this. Overall, while the 2014 RoboCop film had its benefits, including an all-star cast, it ultimately fell short in comparison to the original's impact and nuance. The 2014 RoboCop reboot, a mixed bag. While the 2014 RoboCop reboot may not live up to the standard set by the 1987 original, it does show promise in its innovative concepts and fresh take on the iconic character. And the updated design of RoboCop, brought to life by Joel Kinnaman's portrayal, is a notable highlight. The decision to reveal Murphy's face adds a new layer of emotional depth to the character, making it easier for the audience to connect with him. However, the remake falls short when compared to the original in one major area: its lack of satirical commentary. The 1987 film cleverly masked its sharp critique of corporate greed, capitalism, and authoritarianism beneath its futuristic sci-fi premise. In contrast, the 2014 remake is more focused on delivering action sequences, sacrificing the original's biting social commentary in the process. Still, it's worth noting that the movie stands as a solid, if unremarkable, action film. Overall, while the 2014 RoboCop reboot may not have lived up to the full potential of its predecessor, it remains an interesting take on the classic franchise.